Does your dog not react to you when you call out their name? Well, for a person, a name has a meaning. It's the identity of the person. This is a result of the way we humans use language to speak. We give words or names a meaning. Dogs, however, do not have an attachment to their name because they do not process language as we do. In this video, I'll teach you how to teach your dog his name. Before starting to call out your dog's name randomly and hoping for a reaction, it's important to get specific on what you expect of your dog when they hear their name. Because dogs do not value their name as we humans do, you have to treat it like a cue. So, what behavior do you want your dog to perform after hearing their name? This could be looking at you, running up to you, or anything you want. I would advise you to treat your dog's name as a cue that the next thing you're going to say is aimed towards them. This is especially useful in a multiple dog household. Another reason I train a dog to respond to their name this way is because in dangerous situations, you might not want your dog to run up to you after calling their name. You might want to call their name to tell them to stay and not run up to you. Because dogs do not have an attachment to their name, it's fairly easy to change a dog's name. When adopting a dog, for example, it can be of use to change the dog's name because they might have a negative association with the name, because of an abusive household, for example. Step 1 will be the basics of teaching your dog his name. One of the easiest ways to start is to hand feed your dog. So you call out your dog's name and give them a piece of kibble. After doing this multiple times, your dog will look up at you whenever you call out her name because you're holding a piece of kibble. After a few tries, you can let your dog sniff the kibble after hearing their name and move it towards your face so your dog looks up at you. Then reward them with the kibble. This will teach your dog to look at you whenever they hear their name. So the step-by-step process will be the dog's name, the piece of kibble towards your face, your dog looks up at your face, and the reward. You are essentially putting value to your dog's name. After a few successful tries, you can remove the kibble. So you call out your dog's name, and whenever they look up at you, make sure to mark the behavior and reward it. While during the first step, we didn't give a dog a lot of opportunities to make mistakes because we constantly kept their attention with the kibble, at this moment we're going to spice things up a bit. Because your dog will have more time in between exercises, it can come in handy to put a leash on your dog to guide them into the right direction whenever they make a mistake. Give your dog some time to get distracted, so act boring, just stand looking around, and when your dog starts sniffing or walking around, call out their name. If they would turn around and walk up at you, reward them for reacting to their name. If not, lure them back to you with a piece of kibble, or if he moved too far away from you, use the leash. Put some pressure on the leash, and once your dog starts walking into your direction, make sure to lure them and reward them. As I mentioned in the video about teaching your dog to come when called, make sure to reward your dog as close to you as possible. By making a habit out of this, it will become easy to leash your dog when necessary. Another option is to run backwards while calling your dog's name. They will probably be eager to follow you because of the excitement. If your dog is reacting very well to this, you can also reward them by using a toy, playing a game of tug of war whenever your dog reaches you. The next step will be teaching your dog to respond to their name while distracted. So you can put some things on the floor to distract your dog, and when they start sniffing it, just call out their name. If they don't respond immediately, lure them towards you and reward them. You still use a treat here to set your dog up for success. If you would jump in the deep without proper training, your dog is likely to ignore you. The last step in this training will be to stop using the lure. When all previous training exercises are going great, you can increase the difficulty by stop using a lure. First off, do not use any distractions to set your dog up for success. Start by walking around a bit and call out your dog's name. If they would run up towards you or look up at you, make sure to mark the behavior and reward them. Keep your voice enthusiastic at this moment. Do not go from one training session where you use lure and are very excited to another training session without lure and come here. No, you should phase everything out, even the excited voice, and I wouldn't even phase that one out, to be honest. Then of course you can start by increasing distractions without lure to enforce the behavior. When your dog isn't reacting to the lure, you should try to break your dog's focus. This can be done by a touch on the butt, for example. Much like when someone touches you on the butt, suddenly, you probably turn around and watch the person. The same goes for your dog. You might be able to break their focus by touching them on the butt. He will probably turn his head and look at you, so mark the behavior whenever he turns his head and reward them for it. The idea here is not to hit your dog, but to touch them gently, in order to divert their attention from whatever they're focusing on. Some leash pressure might also do the work here. The advantage of a leash is that it turns your dog's head away from distraction. The disadvantage is that your dog might be pulling the leash for quite some time before he diverts their attention. So you're basically forcing them to turn their head, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad solution, it's just something you should keep in mind. A leash is a good solution, but it's always best to try different types of solutions to solidify the behavior.